Okay. All right. So again, something to make sure you're doing your dynamic warm-up before you're jumping on these calls, so you're nice and awake. You know, you've already moved around a little bit, not too tired, right? We're going to start with, so each call we're going to start with some kind of series of movements here. So first we did the dynamic warm-up, remember, and then the last time we did the shoulder strengthening series number 1, where we went through all the movements with the hand weight. We're going to do series number 2 in our shoulder strengthening, where we're going to go with the band now. Okay, so you don't need a band now. If you have one, great. This is just another option to show you what you can do. You know, if you don't have hand weights or any kind of 1 to 3 pound weight, what you can do if you have a stretch cord, a band. Okay, again, you would be, I tie a loop in this little knot so I can loop it around a pole. Okay, if you don't have a pole, you can put it on your door handle on the other side of you. Okay, so you wrap that around, close that door so it's nice and secure. You have no chance of pulling that door open because that's closing towards you. Okay, the first one in the series are internal external rotation. Okay, so same exact movement as our windshield wipers. Okay, remember here, we're wiping back and forth. That's what we'd be doing on our back. Okay, with here, again, remember we want to keep this elbow in towards our side as we pull out. Okay, we don't want to pull that elbow off our side, and especially we don't want to extend that arm straight or down, okay, or up and knee. Okay, as we start to go down, we start engaging the tricep muscles, pulling back up, pulling up with biceps. We really want to focus on isolating the rotator cuff. Okay, strengthening that rotator cuff. Okay, so that's our external rotation. Internal rotation, same exact thing. Now I'm pulling in towards my body. Okay, right towards your belly button, keeping this arm 90 degrees. You can see here, same exact motion as our windshield wipers on the ground in that supine position. Okay, next one you do kind of horizontal internal external rotation. So I got my elbow up at shoulder height and I'm pulling back. So again, just like if you were on the ground or doing the goalpost in our dynamic warm-up, you've got your elbow at 90 here, hand straight up, and that elbow's not going to drop. Okay, as you go down, I'm not dropping that elbow. Okay, as I'm coming up, I'm not shrugging that shoulder coming up. Okay, really focusing on only moving that hand, rotating up and down, not dropping that elbow. So that external rotation, I'm pulling that band. Again, make sure if you're adding with the band that you're not pulling up and back. Okay, again, we're not engaging the back muscles here. Okay, just that rotator cuff. And then for the internal rotation here, you'll just be facing away and pulling down. Same exact thing, keeping that elbow at 90, keeping that elbow high at shoulder height, not letting that elbow drop. Next one you would do in the band series, unhook the band, pull apart. So you hold your band, thumbs up, so your palms are facing in towards each other, and then you just pull that band apart and back. So if you notice, okay, your arms start to, bend, or your elbows are dropping, okay, that might be a little too much resistance. Just kind of loosen up on that band, pull out, keep the arms shoulder height and straight. Okay. And then the next one you do, empty the can, same exact thing with the weight, okay, where we've got your palm facing down, okay, and coming up. Okay, so I got my palm facing out, thumb down. Same exact thing if I had that can or the weight in my hand going out at that 45-degree angle and making sure my shoulder is relaxed down. Okay, I'm not shrugging here, engaging the trap as I'm lifting up. right here out at a 45-degree angle. Okay, and then last two we do here, arm raise, laterally here, you go out to the side, same exact thing, not going above shoulder height, and not raising that shoulder, that trap, to try and get that band up. Okay, if that starts to happen, loosen up on that band, be able to get that shoulder up. And the last one you do out in front of you, same exact thing, not going up higher than shoulder height, keeping those shoulders down, back, nice and relaxed. Okay. And again, big thing to focus on when you're doing any of those movements, any of the core movements we're doing here, upper, lower core movements, is to make sure you're doing them correctly. The best way you can know for sure you're doing them correctly is by looking in a mirror. So if you're standing in front of a mirror doing these, watching yourself, you can see, okay, my arm is dropping down a little bit as I go down, okay, or as I pull back, my arm's coming back a little bit. Okay, watching yourself in the mirror, best form of feedback you can do to make sure you're doing these right. And really important we do these right because, again, you know, whether we're doing, you know, rotator cuff series, okay, where we're focusing on a specific muscle group, if we start to raise, if we're doing it incorrectly, we could use other muscles and not work that, okay, or, you know, if we do it incorrectly, it could lead to injury. Okay, so just making sure we're doing them correctly, watching yourself in the mirror, okay, making sure you're not going above shoulder height. Again, if you're doing a push-up, you know, a nice flat back, and that can be in front of the mirror, it can be, you know, an iPad set up with a video or on your phone, whatever you got where you can kind of see yourself and get that feedback. Okay, that's important because of our proprioception, or our body's awareness in space. Okay, where we might think, you know, if I were to close my eyes and raise my arm, okay, would I be able to get it to shoulder height? If I get to here and I look, okay, it's a little bit lower, or I'm going a little bit higher. Looking in the mirror, getting some kind of feedback where you can see yourself, then you'll know for sure, okay, that's shoulder height, and I know what that feels like. Okay, you make sure you do every rep correctly. A couple examples of that proprioception in the water. Okay, if we've ever, you know, told you on your entry, you know, your hand position, or getting your elbow up a little bit higher, or pushing off the wall, pushing off into a tight streamline, and we tell you, hey, you know, make sure your streamline's nice and tight, and you think to yourself, it is nice and tight, right? Okay, because I'm tensing my arms are tight, my shoulders are tight, you know, I'm holding my hands really tight. Okay, but if you were to look at yourself in the mirror, you'd see, okay, I do have some gaps. Okay, by tightening up, okay, I see how I can improve that. Okay, so seeing yourself, making sure you're doing it right, good form of feedback to make sure you're doing that correctly. Okay, next thing we're going to go through are 3 movements for the upper body. We have the dip, and so in the email that got sent out, said all you need today was a chair. So you can do these on the bench, the edge of a chair, anything chair height you can sit on. Okay, we just don't want to go down too low. We don't want to be up too high. Okay, so you can have your hands on the edge of the bench here, your chair, whatever you got. You just scoot forward a little bit so that you can dip down and come back up. Okay, a couple things to think about as you do these. Okay, we want to progress up. We want to kind of ease into these. Dips are a great shoulder exercise if we do them correctly and progress correctly into them. Okay, if we start out, you know, just going, you know, feet out, increasing the resistance here, making it super hard, we don't quite have the right form, okay, we can lead to some shoulder injuries, tear something in our shoulder. Okay, so we would start out with our feet, either out here at 90 or underneath it, to provide some assistance. Okay, as you come down, making sure, again, you're watching yourself, making sure you're doing it correctly. One by as you come down, okay, this form is vertical here, and then you're dipping down to making a 90-degree angle in that arm. Okay, so I'm here. I'm not dipping too far where that shoulder drops below the elbow height. Okay, and I'm not dipping down and leaning forward. Okay, where that forearm's past vertical, or I'm leaning backwards past vertical. Okay, when that starts to happen, okay, I'm causing more strain on the shoulders than I need to, and that's where injuries start to happen. Okay, so just making sure you're going straight down. Okay, once you got 3 sets of 12, 3 sets of 15, comfortably, and you start getting stronger, then we can start walking the feet out, making it a little bit more difficult. Okay, and then even more difficult here. Always watching, making sure you're doing them right. And then you can progress up to putting your feet on another chair or box whenever you got to elevate the feet and make it a little bit harder. Okay? Next one we're going to go through for the lower body is the lunge. And same principles we went through on the squat are all going to apply here with the lunge. So with the lunge, we start hip width. Okay? Hip width apart. And we're going to lunge as we lunge forward. Okay, I'm staying hip width. I'm not lunging forward and crossing over in front of that foot or towards that foot or coming out too wide. Okay, lunging forward and straight down. Same thing with the squat. Okay, when we squat down, we're not letting this knee come over the toes. Okay, we got the weight through our heels. Same thing as we lunge. We're going to lunge forward, not letting this knee drop over the toes. Okay, we got my arm or my foot out far enough so that when I lunge down, my hips drop straight down, and I'm making a nice 90-degree angle in that front foot, front leg. Okay, so I lunge out, drops the hips straight down, make a 90-degree angle, making sure I'm not dropping that knee forward. Last thing you want to think about with the lunge is as you lunge forward, okay, I'm not dropping my chest forward. Okay, as we drop our chest forward, that tends to drop our knee forward as well. Okay, so nice upright body position. Drop the hips straight down, letting the shoulders stay right over our hips. And then back up. Okay. All right. And then that way, as we progress from there, okay, you know, if we're doing some body balance here and we're dropping into a lunge, holding that streamline, making sure we can stay up nice and tall here, okay, so that we can translate that into the water, holding a nice, good, strong core, upper body, okay, so that when we get into the water, okay, we're able to maintain that solid body line. Okay, again, doing these with the mirror, making sure you're doing them correctly, making sure your body is up and down, nice and tall. This video, here we go. Okay, and then the last one we got today, for the last minute here, we've got the plank. So we'll be on the ground, same exact startup as the push-up position, okay, because we'll be in that upper push-up position, okay, where our hands directly under our shoulders, elbows, the inside of our elbows facing out, forward, okay, and we're just here. Okay, we don't want to add extra strain by going out too far, to the side, forward or backwards, hands directly under your shoulders. Okay, other thing you want to think about in that plank position, here is that nice flat back position. Okay, real quick, we're going to call this plank. We're going to differentiate the high plank from the low plank by just calling this a plank, and then this a bridge. Okay, where we're here, all the same things here. We're just doing these from our hands. Okay, so a nice straight body line, whether you're up or low. Okay, all the way from your head down to your toes. Okay, important you start with your head. Okay, if I'm looking forward, my hips tend to drop a little bit. And if I'm looking down, my hips tend to rise a little bit. Okay, so keeping that head in line, nice flat back, through the hips down to the toes. Okay, another one to. All right, thanks, Jim. And then nice straight line here. Okay, and that finishes the core movement. Just to give you a little heads up of what we got next. On Monday, when we meet again, we'll be going through the pull-up, jump rope, and arch up. Okay, so if you have access to a pull-up bar, great. We'll show you how to progress into that, do pull-ups correctly, how to progress correctly. If you don't, I'll be sending out an email with ways you can do a pull-up without a pull-up bar, or what you can use for a pull-up bar. And then jump rope, if you don't already have a jump rope, they're only a couple bucks on Amazon. Make sure you guys get one. We'll be programming a lot of jump rope into our workouts. If you can't get one by Monday, that's fine. We'll be going through the motions and let you know how we can use them. Okay,